Morning, and thank you for attending this press conference. What I'd like to release a video today of a robbery that took place on Sunday, March the 3rd, 2013, just before 4 p.m. at the Toronto Dominion Bank at 2561 Victoria Park in Toronto. Just before 4 p.m., two men wearing dark clothing, one armed with a handgun, burst into a bank that was semi-crowded with customers and employees. The individual with the gun grabbed onto a customer that was trying to exit the bank, dragged him back into the bank. One of the other suspects jumped over the counter, grabbed onto the female teller by the throat with his right hand, causing her to gasp for breath, making it hard for her to breathe, and yelling at her, "Where's the money, bitch?" while he then slapped her across the face, pulled her hair, and pushed her around. The customer was forced to the floor where he received minor injuries. The female teller complied by presenting the money to the individual behind the counter. Both men then fled the bank with a quantity of cash and some dye packs. The individuals are described as both are male black individuals in their mid-20s. The one that went behind the counter is totally dressed in black. He's approximately 6 foot, 180 pounds. The individual in the front of the counter is wearing a polka dot bandana around his face. Is described as a male black, slightly smaller, 5'8" to 5'10", mid-20s, armed with a black handgun. The individuals fled the bank in an unknown direction. What I'm hoping for is that somebody can take their mind back to this date and time. It may be a friend or a family member that can identify these individuals by their clothing. Maybe they came home with a quantity of red dye on their clothing or talked about this incident. We're trying to apprehend these individuals as quickly as possible, and we need the media's and public's assistance in doing so. Any questions?
Are you saying at all how much money they got away with?
No, we're not going to talk about the money, but there was some dye packs, so I'm putting that out to the media because they should have substantial dye on their clothing or on their body after this robbery.
Talk about how long that dye lasts. Someone opens the cash and splashes over them on their hands. How long would a family member have been able to see some weird dye on their hands?
It could be days. It could be actually days that it lasts for.
Did you say, I'm sorry, if they fled in a vehicle? What type?
We don't have a vehicle or a direction of travel for these individuals, but it was a violent robbery as it comes to bank robberies. Usually there's not a lot of force used in these robberies. They jump over the counter, they take the money and flee. This was an animal act of grabbing this poor lady, throttling her by the throat, and using excessive violence on her to get really what they just had to ask for.
Had she refused to cooperate before he did that?
Not whatsoever.
Do you have any idea if it looks like they've done this before? Or?
We're not sure. They very well. We've talked to our cohorts in the GTA. We have some robberies that they very well could be responsible for, but they're so covered up with their clothing, it's hard to tell. MO-wise, we don't have any of the robberies where a teller was literally throttled like this.
How's she doing now?
She's doing fine. My understanding, she's okay.
She's back at work?
I'm not sure of that.
So it's a Sunday afternoon robbery at TD Bank in Scarborough. It's a pretty busy location. Looks fairly busy in the bank. What does it tell you about these guys besides being very brazen?
Yeah, that's it. Bold, brazen, and not a care in the world. They obviously wanted to make a statement here by jumping over the counter and actually grabbing onto victims, whether it be the person leaving and also the female teller. There was no resistance whatsoever by these individuals.
Do you think these guys may live in this area? Like if they did get away on foot,
we don't have any indication where these individuals live, but it is a bold and brazen robbery on a Sunday afternoon. So they obviously knew what they were doing, and they didn't care how many people were going to witness it.
What about the other people in the bank? Were they able to help you at all?
Just with the descriptions, and much like I'm telling you now, there's not much to go on other than the dark clothing and the aspect. Which makes this different from other robberies is the violence that took place during this robbery. Usually we have bank robberies or robberies, the individuals go in and ask for the cash and they leave, or they jump the counter and take the money. There was no need for this whatsoever. I mean, this is a little unusual when it comes to robberies. Yes, we've had incidents where people have been shot in the robberies, but again, those are isolated incidents. This one here, it fits in that same category.
Does the polka dot bandana help you at all? Do you think that may have been a mistake on their part, or maybe it means nothing?
We've seen robbers, we've seen videos, we've seen other suspects in other crimes wearing polka dot bandanas around their face, so it doesn't really help us at this point in time.
Is there any more surveillance footage that you're going through from the area, maybe from the same block?
Absolutely. Investigators have seized video from that area, but at this point in time it hasn't helped us, so we're going to the media and going to the public. It's been very successful in the past, and I'm hoping that it can be successful again.
What's around that area? Like, is this in a plaza?
There's strip malls in that area of Victoria Park.
And nobody outside saw them running anywhere?
We have no direction of travel once they left the bank. There wasn't a lot of witnesses that saw where they went, out the doors and gone.
Is the dye would it only be visible in their clothing or hands, or is there any chance it was on cash and business owners?
Could be on cash, absolutely could cover the other cash that was stolen at the time. Their clothing for sure.
Do we know for sure that those packs exploded? Is there potential for them to have a way to get to that money without that dye exploding?
Well, we don't know everything for sure, but chances are they've probably exploded, and there should be a good quantity of dye.
Is there any appeal to maybe businesses in the Toronto area to look at any of the money they're receiving, if any of it has any of this red dye on it?
Well, this media conference may help that also. If there is business owners that, especially in that area, that received dye, covered money, they could alert the police. Most of the time when the dye money is turned in, the banks themselves will contact the police and let us know it has been turned in. So we haven't received any phone calls in regards to that at this time.
Can you safely say that all the cash that we offer could be, could have some problems on it?
It very well could be all contaminated. Everything they got could be contaminated with the dye.
Were there any children in there?
I can't answer that.
Sir, why can't you tell us how much they took?
I usually don't release the amount of cash in bank robberies or any robberies.
Is the Bankers Association offering a reward or anything like that?
The Bankers Association usually up the Crime Stoppers reward for an extra 50% if for any information leading to the arrest. That's their normal. But there's been no excessive reward posted at this time.
And the other thing, the cameras in the banks are getting much better, the imaging. So obviously these guys they're adapting to that. Would you say that's accurate?
Somewhat accurate. Before, years ago when the cameras weren't that great either, the bandits were still wearing bandanas and balaclavas also. But I'm sure that plays a part in their mind also.
Thank you very much. This information again.